Good morning. We will begin with something that is left over from last week. There was a question on the labor market adjustment when a recessionary gap is closed by fiscal policy. So you're going to remember the following. We said we can have potential here. We could have aggregate supply here, aggregate demand here, right? And here we have a recessionary gap, right? Slowly I will wake up and begin to make sense. We're producing below potential, right? We're producing less than we normally can. All right. So that has to imply that there is unemployment because the definition of potential is we're using our factors of production normally, and labor is a factor of production. If we are not using our factors normally, we're not using labor normally. Thus, there must be unemployment. Here's wage. Here's labor. Right? And we said the wage has to be too high because only when the wage is high, labor supply, higher than equilibrium that is, labor supply, the quantity of labor supplied rather, exceeds quantity of labor demanded. Thus, we have unemployment. Okay? Now, we already talked about the adjustment when there is no policy. Right? This market eventually clears. That means real wage gently falls. As real wage falls, firms' profits increase. As firms' profits increase, aggregate supply increases. We come to an equilibrium. Good. Now we have the other question. That is, well, do we really have to wait? Right? And we agree that the answer is no. We could actually do fiscal policy. Right? We also can do monetary policy. We haven't talked about that yet. Fiscal policy would be what? Increasing government expenditure here or decreasing government expenditure? Good. You're awake. So we do this. Right? Government spending increases or taxes decrease. The multiplier process pushes aggregate demand out. We come to an equilibrium. Right? And the question is, what happens here? Okay. So let's decide. If this market came to an equilibrium on its own, okay, at which equilibrium labor amount would it come to an equilibrium? Here, right? This would be the equilibrium labor, right? And this would be the labor amount that brings the economy to the potential GDP. Do we agree? This is easy, right? Okay. But if that's the case, can we also be at the potential when, say, we're here? You should be able to see this, right? Even on a Monday morning at whatever, 8:39, right? It's clear that if this is the equilibrium labor that's associated with potential, right? We have to be coming to a long-run equilibrium at this point. Here's what's going on. Remember that this is your real wage, right? This is nominal wage divided by prices. As the demand curve shifts out, what happens to prices? Very good. As prices increase, what happens to real wages, given that nominal wages are sticky? Real wages decrease. What happens here when real wages decrease? Say it. Yeah. What is going to shift? There is no shift. Why not? Well, if real wage is changing, okay, are the curves shifting or are we moving along the curves? Okay, are we moving up or down? Well, it's not very clear what that means, but yeah, we're moving this way, right? So we come to the same equilibrium again. Okay? right? So what's going on is not that labor demand is shifting. It's that quantity of labor demanded is increased because the real wage is falling because prices are increasing. Okay? So this whole thing is a very internally consistent story. All right? Good. Now, today's class is going to be one of the most fun classes you're going to have. We're going to talk about money. Okay? So we're going to do 3 things this week. We will first talk about money, the item itself. Okay? What is it? What is it good for? Then we're going to talk about banking. And these 2 things always go hand in hand. Right? So we're going to properly talk about, what is a bank? What do they do? Why do they fail? Okay, what happens when they fail? And then we're going to talk about basic monetary policy. This is not going to be what monetary policy does. Okay? This is going to be how monetary policy is done. That is, when we say, the central bank changed monetary policy, right? What exactly is it that's changing? What are these guys doing? Okay? So we're going to do that. Let's get started. You must have seen this before. Let me show you a specimen. It's this, right? Our founder on the one side and Fatma Ali Hanım on the other side, a piece of paper. Now the question is, what is this good for? Can I, for example, have your half bottle of water for this? Are you crazy? Seriously. Yes, I can. So she's willing to give me her half bottle of water for this stupid piece of paper. And this is where this becomes an interesting class, right? We get to ask her, who in his right mind would part with a half bottle of water, which you could actually drink, and it's good for something, in return for a piece of paper that's already painted? You can't even write on this. Okay? So why would you do that? Why?
Because with that money I can buy lots of bottles.
This is a standard answer, right? With this money, she could buy other things. But this doesn't answer the question, just defers it. Why would the person who would sell you whatever do that for this stupid piece of paper? There is no value. This is a piece of paper. In which way is this different from the piece of paper in your notebook? It's better paper, that's true. Okay? But now you understand the question, right? I mean, what makes this piece of paper any different from that piece of paper? So what is money? What is money and why is it valuable? So money is one of the more difficult to understand and more important inventions of human societies. I want to think of the following. First understand, and you already know this, right? We did not have this piece of paper all the time, right? Money has a long history, but it wasn't this paper thing all along, okay? And almost all of you are Turkish, so you live in this cradle of civilization and you're aware. So who here has been to the Museum of Anatolian Civilizations? You, too few. You should go. It's not a very good museum, but it has one of the best collections in the world. It's just very impressive, okay? And I'm not going to ask this, but I'm fairly sure all of you have been to some museum in your lifetimes, okay? And if you do this in Turkey, invariably you end up with old coins, right? You've seen these things, okay? Have you seen old paper money from like the 2nd century or whatever? No. So this paper money thing is kind of newer, right? We don't have that all the time. Let's do this in steps then. Yes, ma'am.
Can I also say something like the money also has been like in the Ottoman Empire has been a kind of a power thing, power symbol. So I think money has got more values than just buying something.
Right. So she has studied her Ottoman history well, right? To be a little Ottoman state, well, any state, you need three things.
Money.
One of them is money with your pretty face or your signature on it, right? You have to do something. No, you have to have others do something for you, right? Adını hutbe okutacaksın değil mi yavrum? You don't do that yourself, okay? So this is the sermon in your name, and then the third. You guys suck. You have to have your flag, right? In fact, so this is a fun thing. So this is what your, whatever, 6th grade history textbook said. Right? To be recognized as a ruler, you have to have a sermon in your name, you have to have a flag, and you have to have your money. Okay? When the old Turkish lira was being changed into the new Turkish lira, the guys at the central bank were saying, well, we issue money, we have a little central bank flag, and they were trying to talk the religious affairs, whatever, into talking about the change of money in the Friday sermons. They were saying, we're about to declare independence here. Okay, now, back to olden times. We're going to come back to your point of money as a powerful symbol of authority, okay? The first thing to understand is why we need money of any kind to begin with, okay? So now we're not talking about the coins or the paper or whatever, just why do we need something to serve as money, okay? We're going to begin talking about barter. Barter is exchange of goods and services for other goods and services, okay? Can I have the half bottle of water in response or in exchange for this board marker?
Yes, you can.
Yes, I can. Okay, that's barter. I'm willing to give the board marker and get the half bottle of water, and she's willing to give me the water and get the board marker. Can we trade? Yes, golden. Very good. The problem here is I have a board marker and I want to drink water. Okay? Is this board marker something valuable? Well, it has some value, right? I mean, it isn't completely worthless. Okay? But the question is, can I be sure that she is the person who values this? She is the person who wants to have the board marker and has the water. Right? So the difficulty with barter is, and there's a nice term for this, this is called the problem of double coincidence of wants or needs. That is, not only should I have something and want something, okay? I have to be able to find someone who has exactly what I want and who needs exactly what I have. Will that happen all the time? That's easy, right? I mean, barter is not a very efficient way of trading, okay? You could immediately see that I could have the board marker, and perhaps I want her, I don't know, eraser, okay? But rather than the board marker, she wants a pencil, say his pencil. And he is the person who wants the board marker. Okay? Now we have a proper triangle here. The three of us should be able to trade. I will give him the board marker, get the pencil, give her the pencil, get the eraser, everybody's happy. Okay? What is the likelihood that the three of us will notice? I will go to her and say, I see that you have an eraser. I'd like that. Can I give you the board marker? Will we be able to trade? No. She doesn't want the board marker, okay? I'm going to see that he has a pencil. Will I go to him and say, can I have your pencil? You can have the board marker? No, I won't, because I don't want the pencil. And I don't know that she wants the pencil. So doing things with barter requires an enormous amount of knowledge, right? If the three of us would come together and talk to each other and know exactly who wants what, right, we could trade. Everybody would be happier. And you know from your 101 that this is efficient, right? However, doing things with barter is very hard. Now, this is where money kicks in, okay? Money as a medium of exchange. Money as something everybody is willing to accept as payment, okay? I go to her and say, can I have your eraser, okay? And I tell her, I'm going to give you the board marker in return, okay? Now, she doesn't want the board marker, but she doesn't want the board marker to use the board marker, okay? But let's assume that this class, all of us come to an agreement that we will all accept the board marker as payment. Can we do this? Sure, why not? Okay? Now that she knows other people, in particular, people who have pencils, will accept this as payment. Would you trade with me? Can I have your eraser in response to the board marker? Yes. It's now money. Okay? Board marker now begins to fulfill one of the most important functions of money. Money as a means of payment. Okay? Let's use the proper terminology here. Money as a medium of exchange. The medium of exchange means this is something everybody agrees is acceptable as payment. Why am I willing to accept this as payment? Because others do. Okay? Now I ask myself, somebody comes and tells me, you know, I could give you a massage. Can I have the board marker? Okay? Sure. Somebody comes to me and says, I'd like a 102 lecture, and I will give you a board marker. Okay? Well, I already have a board marker. Am I willing to provide a 102 lecture for another board marker? Of course I am. Because I know that I could get other things with the board marker. Everybody will accept this, okay? That's what money is, right? What do I really want? Say I want a massage, okay? That's, I doubt that any one of you will come to me and say, I'm going to offer you a massage for a 102 lecture. I hope not. But there are people who do this professionally, right? Who provide massages. I'd like one of them. What is the likelihood that somebody who knows how to give a good massage wants a 102 lecture? Sadly, very low. Okay? But it is true that you guys want a 102 lecture, and that's why here in this early morning, right? If you had to pay for this, you would be paying with board markers. Okay? Would I be accepting these? Yes. Why is that? It's a medium of exchange. I could give this to the guy who provides massages and get a massage, right? We no longer have to do this barter. The problem with the board marker is this would make a very stupid, rather very, very stupid money, right? We could all agree that we're going to use this as a means of payment, as a medium of exchange, okay? it's not very easy to carry around. You can divide it, right? There will be things that are worth, say, half a board marker. How do you pay that? Right? It's just, it's awkward, not very good, okay? But I do want you to see that we could use this thing as money properly, because the second thing that money does is it really makes it easier for you to think about how valuable things are, how cheap things are, how expensive things are, okay? Let's say there's no money. How much does that water cost? 65 kuruş, she said. Okay? What on earth is a kuruş? In a world where there's no money. Right? When I ask you the price of something, you immediately tell me the monetary price of that item. Right? Why is that? Is there a price of water in terms of pencils? Why not? Of course. Yes, there is, right? Yes, right? That's exactly right. 2 bottles of water buys a pencil, okay? Is there a price of water in terms of board markers? Yes. Is there a price of water in terms of cars? Sure. It's a very awkward price, but there is one, right? I mean, we have a lot of relative prices, right? There is a price of everything in terms of every other item. Okay? Now let's say we don't have money, and we aren't an advanced enough civilization to have the concept of money. Okay? How do you keep track of how cheap or how expensive something is? You have to know the price of everything in terms of every other item. Okay? That's not easy. Could we just agree that we're going to quote everything with respect to board markers? Can we do this? Rather than having to know the price of water with respect to the eraser, the price of water with respect to the pencil, the 102 lecture, the massage, can we just say, we're just going to agree that whenever we say a price, we're talking about the price in terms of the board marker. Okay? Can we do this? Would it make our lives easier? It sure would, right? When I ask you what is the price, you wouldn't have to ask me back in terms of what. You would immediately know in terms of the board marker. That's a great convention. Okay? Then the board marker fulfills the second function of money. Okay? It's a medium of exchange. It's also a unit of account. Right? When we ask the price of something, and the answer is 2 liras, okay? It simultaneously means I'm quoting the price of this thing in terms of the liras, and you could give me those liras and get this item. There's the physical entity, the lira, that's the medium of exchange. But even if we have no money, okay, can we keep on using this lira idea as a unit of account? Sure, okay? That's the unit of account. In fact, so this is going to be easy for you. It doesn't have to be the case that these two things go together. Okay? You could have units of account that aren't medium of exchange. For example, it takes about what? 25 million liras to go from here to the city center with a taxi? Right? That's about right. It's about 25 million. 25 million what?
Old Turkish.
Right? 25 million old Turkish liras. We had a change in currency. We still quote, a lot of people still quote prices in millions, right? Can you pay them in millions? Does that currency still exist? No. But do we all understand exactly what the price is when somebody quotes us in millions? It's a unit of account. It doesn't exist at a medium of exchange. Right? There is one more thing. If we didn't have money, barter requires the transactions to be simultaneous. Okay? That means I'm willing to provide a 102 lecture. I want a haircut. Okay? We don't know each other, right? You know, we meet in the marketplace, do our transactions, and then probably never see each other again. Okay? So I find the guy who's a barber, who can give me a haircut, and who wants a 102 lecture. Okay? So he gives me a haircut, right? Which I do need. Do I have to give the guy the 102 lecture right on the spot, right then? Yes, I do. Otherwise, will he ever be able to find me again? No. Now, is the middle of the marketplace on the market day a good time to receive a 102 lecture? It's neither a good time to receive a 102 lecture, nor a good time to get a haircut, actually. Okay? But we have to do it that way, with barter. Because we don't know each other. Okay? If we had money, I could, for example, receive the haircut, give the guy money, and he would know that he could go to any 102 lecturer, pay the money, right? Give the money, and get a 102 lecture. We didn't have to do these things simultaneously. Okay? Money is valuable, and it's valuable to everyone, and in different times. So it doesn't have to be that transactions would have to take place. The utility would have to take place. The utility transaction would have to take place simultaneously. Who has some money in his or her pocket? I hope you don't walk around with no money at all, right? It's good to have a little money on you. Do you have a little money? Yes. Why? Why would you walk around with money? Is there something that you need to buy today? Can I talk to him? Why is it that you walk around with money? Consumption. Good. Okay. But you're not doing consumption now. Right? Well, you're kind of consuming the 102 lecture, but we understand each other, right? Money is also a store of value, okay? So what he's saying is, well, I will do consumption today, okay? And for that, I have to be able to give something valuable in return. Money fulfills that role because we agree not only within a moment in time that we're going to accept this as payment, right? We're going to accept this as payment over time as well. Okay? So this turns into a savings device, which is distinct from it being a medium of exchange, a unit of account. Okay? Can the board marker fulfill all three of these? Can the board marker fulfill all three of these functions? Yes, right? It would be a stupid money, not a very convenient money, but it is money, right? As long as we all agree that we're going to accept this as payments, it's a medium of exchange. As long as we all agree we're going to continue to accept this as payments, it's a store of value. As long as we keep on quoting prices with respect to the board marker, it's a unit of account. This is money. Okay? It's an extremely inconvenient money. But convenience is a relatively new development in money, right? Because you know that more primitive societies have used things like seashells, for example, as money. Let's think of this. Could you use, say, fish as money? If we all agreed to take it as payments, would it be a medium of exchange? Yes. Can we all quote prices in terms of fish? Would it be a store of value? There are more problems in that respect, okay? It's not very durable. But now you understand the basics of money, right? There are things that could be one of these or two of these, but not all three of these. And there are many things that could be all three.
sorry, this was about some relation with the fish. For example, when you have money, lots of people can be around you, but when you have more fish,
Okay, say no more. Now, the easiest thing to imagine as money, the easiest thing to imagine as something that everybody will accept as a means of payment would be something that everybody finds valuable anyway. Okay? That is why you have, as earlier money, commodities. Gold. Gold. Commodity, MTR. Okay? Precious metals, for example. Why is it that gold was used as money? Now, does it do all three? Everybody accepts it as payment, it's a medium of exchange. We can quote prices in terms of gold, and it's a store of value. Okay? But so is the board marker. Why is it more likely that gold will turn out to be the money rather than the board marker? Everybody understands and everybody finds gold valuable. Okay? There is a reason why people would want to have gold, other than it just being money. Okay? Is the same thing true for board marker as well? Not quite, right? Unless you also have the white board, this isn't an intrinsically valuable item. Okay? Commodity money is intrinsically valuable. That is, other than the social convention that we attribute it, okay? That is the moneyness, right? Gold is valuable. That's what commodity money is. Things that are already valuable being used as money. Okay? Now goes the basic history of money, right? There are many of us, we produce surpluses, we want to trade. To be able to trade, we will either do barter, which suffers from the double coincidence of wants problem, okay, or the double coincidence of needs problem. So designating something, right, as money solves that. But like some item that fulfills these three properties, the most obvious thing is going to be a commodity, like gold. Okay? Now gold makes a great money, and it was used for centuries and centuries as money for exactly that reason. But it's also inconvenient because it's no longer just the social convention that makes gold valuable, right? Gold is valuable. The problem is, when you see gold, do you understand that it actually is gold? We'll get to that, right? Could we use gold as money today? Can we use it as a medium of exchange? Sure. Could we quote everything in prices of gold? Yeah. Is it a store of value? Does it continue to be valuable over time? Yeah. Okay. So gold can be used as money. Okay. The problem here is I give you something yellowish, right? The color of gold. Okay. Would you know that it actually is gold? So the problem with commodity money is it's very hard to authenticate that the damn thing is actually the commodity we're talking about. Okay? This is where your sovereign, the government, kicks in, right? The guys say, well, rather than everybody having to worry about whether this is gold or not, right? I'm going to have pieces of gold of certain value, and I'm going to stamp these. And the stamp is going to say, this is gold. Does this help? When you see the stamp of the government on, or the stamp of the ruler on a piece of gold, on a piece of metal, you do know that it is gold. Okay? Would this be helpful? Sure. In fact, we could also standardize things, right? Rather than you have to give me a gram of gold for this and I have to give you a kilo of gold for that, right? We would have these standard units of gold. Okay? Again, think of the olden times. When people talk about prices, they don't talk about gold, right? Things aren't 2 gold, 5 gold, 10 gold. There are still units of account. While the money is in terms of gold, right? There is a Ottoman monetary term. Okay? Now, the problem with commodity money is, again, go back to your Museum of Anatolian History. The coins look something like this. Right? You have seen your olden coins. Yes, some of these have holes in the middle. Okay? But they all have these jagged, serrated edges. Right? They aren't like this. They're like that. Why are they like that? Here is a note of historical curiosity. Coins are still like this. Take your 1 lira out. You're going to feel that the edges are serrated. Right? They have these jagged edges. Why is that? Look. Remind me your name? So we're living in the kingdom of Berfinia, right? And our money is 1 berfin. Okay? So we all know that this is a certain amount of gold, right? We see her pretty face. We understand that this has been minted by her. Okay? Let's say could we have money like this as well? I could have the same pretty face on a square. Right? Have you ever seen money like this? Is it that in ancient times people were unable to mint money in rectangles or squares? The problem here is, remember why this thing is valuable. Is it valuable because it has her pretty face on it? Or is it valuable because this is gold? Okay? That's the thing about commodity money, right? It's not just a social convention that makes it valuable. It's actually the gold content that's making this valuable, right? So she stamps this. She mints this with the pretty face, okay? And we all understand that, there's a gram of gold in this, okay? I take this. What is the first thing I do? I cut the edges, okay? The pretty face is still there. The coin is a little smaller. Is it still as valuable? Well, this is a problem, right? You all think that there's a gram of gold in this because the pretty face is there. Is there a gram of gold in this? No. Should it be as valuable? I'm blatantly cheating here, right? So the problem with the square money would be that, would you have any way of knowing whether I cut the edges or not? How about here? You would know because the jagged edges would go away if I cut it, right? Or if I file it away, okay? And that's why money has this shape. It's not because these guys were incompetent and stupid and couldn't make proper, better geometrical shapes. It's because this is actually a mechanism against theft, okay? Where theft here is stealing the commodity value of the money away, okay? And because that's the historical norm, our coins still have these jagged edges. Now, so we live prosperously and happily under the kingdom of Berfinia, okay? Immediately you have to be able to see that this commodity money is something of a problem because, say, the economy is growing, okay? When there are more goods and services to be bought and sold, do we need more money? Yes, we're doing transactions with money. there are more transactions to be done, we need more money. Okay? Then do we need more gold? Yes. Are we sure that we're going to have more gold? Right? Maybe, we have this great land, but it happens to have no gold. What happens then? We're screwed. Okay? What would happen if we suddenly found a gold mine and, we had gold all over the place? What would happen to prices? Prices have to increase because we're quoting everything in terms of gold. If there's more gold, is gold more or less valuable? It's less valuable. If gold is less valuable, everything else is more valuable with respect to gold, right? So the lucky coincidence of stumbling onto a gold mine causes inflation in our country. Are we happy? Is gold good money? You could imagine what happened in Spain, for example, after these guys looted the Latin American gold, right? The American continent was discovered. They found the ancient cultures there, a lot of gold. That gold was brought back to Europe. What happened in Europe? Yep. It has to be inflation, right? Because you have a ton of gold around, right? And money is gold, or better, gold is money, right? We now know that one way of thinking of the concept of inflation is a reduction in the purchasing power of money, whatever money is. In this case, it would be gold, okay? And so you have this unfortunate situation where monetary policy is being done in the sense that money supply increases or decreases by the availability of gold. Do we want this? We don't, right? I mean, but this is awkward. So keep this in mind as a problem of commodity money, okay? But let's move on. Now, the other problem here is after a long life, Berfin, like all of us eventually, right, passes away. It will happen. So the next ruler of the land is, what's your name? Simai. Now, do you want to be the ruler of the land that has money with her face on it? Or do you want your own pretty face on the money? She wants her own pretty face on the money. This is a way of showing her sovereignty, right? So she's telling us, okay, everybody bring your gold in. We're going to melt these. We're going to remint these, okay? But this time, it's going to be my pretty face on the gold, okay? In general, this entails a little payment by us to her for the privilege of having our gold minted as money, okay? More importantly, what she would usually do is she would realize that, are we measuring the gold content of this? When we see the money, okay? When we see, say, this one Berfin, okay? Do I get to buy your water with this one Berfin? What are you mumbling about? Yeah, but this is money, right? We all agree that it's money. It's her problem that she wants her face on the money, right? She wants her picture. We're happy to oblige, but we understand that, this is just perfectly good money, okay? The point here is she didn't tell me that, she would look at the gold content of this. She didn't tell me that she would weigh this or anything, right? She just accepted this as money just because it had the pretty face on it, right? The pretty face made this thing money. Now suddenly, we're in this in-between situation where while we are valuing this for the gold content, we're no longer checking the gold content all the time, right? This is valuable by virtue of the pretty face. We all agree that it's something valuable, okay? But it's supposed to be valuable because it has a gram of gold in it, right? What she would do is she would take the gold in, okay, melt all of it, and then say, well, could she put some copper into this? Can you combine gold and copper? Yes, you can. Okay? Would you know that it has copper in it?
If it's too solid,
So she watched a lot of historical movies where people just bite into the coins, right? Why do they do it?
because the pure gold is just too soft.
Yeah, you know way too much about gold. Pure gold is soft, okay? If your coin is actually gold, you should be able to bite into it, right? If I put other metals into it, it's going to be hard. This is something that's routinely done. Your ruler, your government needs income, okay? It needs to make payments. It doesn't have any. What does it do? It says, bring in the gold, okay? I'm going to melt these, and I'm going to mint more money with the same amount of gold. I'm going to decrease the gold amount in the money, okay? In English, this is called debasement. In Turkish, well, in Ottoman, there's a beautiful phrase for this. And Ottoman rulers did this routinely, and it's the reason of many of the Yeniçeri uprisings, right? The ruler would pay the Yeniçeri wages, the soldiers' wages, with the debased money, with the money that has little gold in it. Are you happy when you're paid with money that has little gold in it? No, because money isn't valuable as money itself, right? It's the gold that's valuable. You understand that you're being cheated, okay? Does anyone know the Turkish, or whatever, the Ottoman for this phrase? Sikke, taşişi. What you're doing is you're saying, I promise to pay you this much money, okay? What is money? It's this shape, right? Piece of metal with the pretty face on it, okay? The understanding is that this is supposed to have a certain amount of gold in it. Can I reduce the amount of gold in this? Yes, okay? That's what this is. Would you be able to buy the same amount of bread with it? Does the guy who is selling you bread, okay, does that guy want a piece of metal, or does that guy want gold? That guy wants gold, okay? Will that guy understand that there's less gold in this piece of metal? People do. If you lived in the times when this was routinely done, right, you would always check the money. You would always understand that this has less gold, okay? I'm creating inflation here. As the ruler, what she is doing is she's saying, I'm going to increase the quantity of money around, okay? I can do this in two ways. Either I find more gold and increase the amount of money, or I decrease the amount of gold in a unit of money, okay? If you do the second, if you do the latter, what happens to the value of, what happens to the value of money? If the value of money is decreasing, what happens to the value of other things in terms of money? That was easy, right? They increase. We call that inflation, okay? This is how you create inflation in commodity money economies. Good.